the truth has been made clear out of falsehood. This is a part of ayah before which Allah says, La ikraha fid din. There is no compulsion in Islam. No compulsion. You cannot force somebody to accept Islam. This is very clear in Islam. But when you cannot force someone, then what should you do? Why should you should not force someone? Because the truth and falsehoods are clear. Allah made them so clear and distinguished between these two. So why should you come and force someone to accept the truth? Because the truth is in front of him. The falsehood is in front of him. This is what Quranic philosophy is. Why not compulsion? Because things are clear. So you have no right to come and force someone to accept your ideology. And this is not just a slogan of peace from Quran. Practically, Quran proved that many times. And Islam proved it. In the history, never you will find in Islamic history that the Prophet and his legitimate successors ever have forced someone to accept their message, accept Islam. This never happened. Yeah, you might find some people who claim to be Muslims. They are forcing someone to accept their ideology. Again, I'm not going to say to accept Islam, because they did not accept Islam yet. How can they force somebody to accept Islam? They don't understand what Islam is if they are forcing someone to accept Islam. So they are forcing someone not to accept Islam, but to accept their ideology. This is what we can say. Yeah, unfortunately, they happen to be Muslims, or they call themselves Muslims. This in the history. That's why we said that Islam was not spread by sword. Islam spread by logic and love. Knowledge and love. Wisdom and love. This is what Islam is. Unfortunately, people don't look to the aspects of Quranic message which are not just positive, they are really very attractive for human intellect. They bring wrong interpretations to defame Islam. And this is not done by enemies of Islam only. It is done by so-called Muslims themselves. They bring, for example, ayat from Quran which shows that Islam is a rigid religion, it's a very dangerous religion, it's very hard and harsh. No, this is not the truth. See the history. But again, don't see the Muslims. See Islam. Islam is different from Muslim. Don't mix them up. Yes, if you want to see somebody as Islam, again you have to see who deserves to be called Islam. And they are only the Prophet and his pure progeny. Yes, see them. See, for example, in the history, see the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whatever he has said, whatever he has done, yes, you can say Islam has done and said. Yeah, you can attribute every single his saying and his actions to Islam itself, or his legitimate successor Imam Ali alayhi salam. Whatever he has done, whatever he has said, yes, you can say Islam said this and Islam did this. So come and show us in the history these two individuals have done anything against justice, against the truth. So they are Islam. That's why the Prophet, he announced, and nobody denied that. And we discussed this in our last sermon. He said, Man kuntu mawla, for whomsoever I am an authority. Ali is mawla and authority for him as well. Not anybody else. Me and Ali. Why? Both of them are appointed by Allah. Allah's message, these people represent Islam. Nobody else can come in, even today, to come and say, I represent Islam, then he shows his own interpretation of Islam. The point is here. Why today we see such misconception about a religion which is nothing but peace? Its name is peace. Islam is peace. Submission and peace from sin. Its greeting is peace. Assalamu alaikum. So why such a religion is now subject to attack by its followers and by its enemies both? The reason that these people are taking the Islam or trying to learn about Islam, either purposely they try to, twist the truth, or for lack of knowledge, they are taking Islam and the message of Islam from wrong sources. Islam was spread by sword. See, who are saying this? The people against whom Islam never raised sword. I give you example of Christians. Christians, you see, many Christians have this misconception that Islam was spread by sword, and today what we see, the ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Taliban, and Nusra, and all these people are Muslims, and whatever they do, Islam is doing it. They have this misconception. There are reasons for this misconception. Many times they are right. Why? Because they are calling themselves Islam and Khilafat, and become Khalifa, and such things. And they relate it to the origin of this message, this pure message of Islam. So they get, confused. But see that these people never speak about such events in Islamic history which gives the true face of Islam. Islam was spread by sword. Islam was spread by force. Look in the history. In the time of the Prophet, he reached to a point of power when in the entire, at least Arabian Peninsula and more, it was his absolute rule, absolute power. In the time of Ghadir, when he announced in Ghadir that for whomsoever I am a Mawla and authority, Ali is for him too. So at this time, 10th of Hijrah calendar, 10th. It was Islam everywhere. But there were still some Jews were living there, some non-Muslims were living there, some idol worshippers were living there, and some Christians also were living in Islamic State peacefully. Nobody could, touch them, do anything against them. We're living with peace in his rule and his reign. Now see, in this time when he was in the peak of his power, in the last moments of his life, he was in peak of power. He could force all those minorities to accept Islam. He never did it. He could send expeditions to other villages or cities to force them to accept Islam. This never happened in his time. Instead, he, until last time of his life, he tried to convince people with logic. Look what I said, La ikraha fi ddin. There is no compulsion in Islam. Why? قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. Guidance has been made clear from falsehood. Look. So Prophet always tried to make it clear for those for whom still it is not clear. Tell me how many times you hear from these people who take Islam's name and read Quran. I'm talking about Muslims. How many times you hear from them the event of Mubahila? Mubahila is a very important event, took place in Islamic history. It's very, very important. And today we need to discuss this event. But you don't hear about it. Even if you ask Muslims, if you ask some scholars who say, I'm a scholar, Islamic scholar, ask them, they say, no, I didn't hear it. Didn't you read Quran? Yeah, I know Quran by heart. Then how about Mubahila? What is Mubahila? So Mubahila, it took place on 24th of Dhul Hijjah. Around 2 months before Prophet's demise. 2 months before he passed away. So what happened? Some Christian scholars came to him. Christian scholars representing their own community, a big community, was in a place called Najran. They came to Medina and they entered the mosque. And it was, as I said, the peak of Islamic power. They entered the masjid, the mosque, and started praying their way according to their own religion. Started praying in the mosque. Some people came angrily, said, no, you cannot pray in this mosque. This is a mosque. It is not a church. The Prophet stopped them, said, no, let them do what they are doing. Don't stop them. After this, they came and started asking the Prophet questions. It is a long story and very interesting story. I'm not going into the details, but you go and you will find out. You just Google Mubahila, you can find it. But go to the authentic sources. Or you read Quran in Surah Al Imran, in the 3rd surah, ayat number 63. Ayat number 63. You can go and read it, you will find it in Surah Al Imran. So chapter 3, ayat 63. 61, sorry. Yeah, ayat 61. Chapter 3, ayat 61. When you go and read this, go to the details. What happened? Then you will see that in the peak of power, how the Prophet is talking and speaking to the Christians. And by the way, no war ever has taken place between Muslims and Christians in the time of the Prophet. This never happened. Among those 80 battles, none of them is against Christians. And I always say, what is the reason? A simple reason. Because Christians never came with sword against Islam. So Islam is a defensive religion. It defends itself. All wars and battles in Islam are defensive. Somebody comes and attacks, and Islam defends. So when Christians are not attacking, so why should Islam fight against them? There is no reason to fight against Christians. Why? Because they never raised sword against Islam. So Islam never raised sword against them. which makes it clear that any time when Islam, not Muslims, Islam raised sword, they raised sword against those who are attacking them. And it's not against them, but to defend themselves. So these Christians came and started arguing with the Prophet. Look, he gave them the chance to argue with him. It's not, no, what I said is right. Ask these ISIS people. They kill everybody. You don't hear today. You listen. No, not just listen. You can see them killing. Go on, internet is full of those videos that they make those videos while killing innocent people. Killing children, killing women, killing men, innocent man. Why? Because he's not Muslim. Or if he is Muslim, he doesn't agree with them. They kill Muslims more than non-Muslims. Do you know that? Why? You're killing their Muslims. No, they don't agree with us, so they should be killed. Fine. If they don't agree with you, the Christian that didn't agree with the Prophet, they came to the Prophet, and Prophet didn't go there, in their house or in their city. No, they came to the city of Prophet. Look, the sense of peace and security that they had. Came to the Prophet. Prophet didn't go there. And these ISIS, they are going in every cities and villages and making all those mischief that you hear today. They have nothing to do with the Prophet or nothing to do with Islam. So these Christians came to the Prophet and said, we don't agree with you. You say God is one and has no son. We don't agree with you that Jesus is God's prophet, not son. The Prophet said, fine, I also don't agree with you that Jesus is son of God. I say he is prophet of God. I respect him very much. We all Muslims, we respect him and his mother. But he's not son of God. And started arguing and giving proofs and evidence. So discussion continued for 3 days. And according to some riwayat, 7 days. Continued 3 days of discussion with them. And it was just scholarly discussion. It was just logical discussion. The Prophet was giving them his point of view. They were raising their concerns. Did the Prophet, during this process and this time of discussion, ever use a language, of threat? No, never. He never threatened them. He just talking to them easily. Until the end, when they rejected all the arguments and logical arguments. But still the Prophet said, fine. The last thing they had, they were claiming, saying that, look, you claim to be a prophet, you have a lot of followers, but Jesus is Son of God, and we believe in this. And we also believe that God loves us and God is closer to us than you. Or we are closer to God than you. And we have right point, not you. So now, what is the solution? The Prophet gave them a suggestion, and it was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This ayat that I just gave the reference was revealed and said, okay, fine. فَمَنْ حَاجَّكَ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ بِهِ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ. Whenever, after all these knowledge that we revealed on you, and you discussed them with them, you shared those knowledge with them, and they did not accept. فَقُلْ, then now tell them, look, this is the way how Islam deals with the people who don't agree with them. Not with sword. He didn't say, okay, if now I gave you all my arguments and all evidences, you don't accept, if you don't accept Islam, I'm going to kill you. Astaghfirullah. This never happened. The Prophet said, okay, fine. You say you are closer to God, I say I'm closer to God. Yes, you say you are truthful, I say I'm truthful. Now, I don't accept your logic, you don't accept my logic. You don't accept my argument, I don't accept your argument. So what should we do? Let's come all, you come with your children, with your women, and we come with our children and our women, and we'll all together ask God to punish those in this world or keep or drive them away from His mercy. La'an. La'an, curse. In Islam, when it's la'an, unfortunately, we don't have correct translation in English for la'an, la'nat. فَنَجْعَلْ لَعْنَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. Let's get together and then ask Allah to send His la'nat on those who are liars. Either you are lying or I am lying. Okay? Instead of we come and fight and be harsh to one another and use bad words to one another, let's come and ask God to send His la'nat. What is la'nat? La'nat is opposite of rahmat. Rahmat means mercy of God, and la'nat is lack of mercy. La'nat means lack of mercy. So, oh Allah, drive away those who are liars from your mercy. Deprive them from your mercy. This is what la'nat means. But when you translate it in English, so curse them. When you say curse in English has been, is used for different meanings. Many of them are very bad meanings and harsh and not, at least you cannot say this any kind word or decent word. Cursing. And sometimes even cursing used in regular, language for bad words. Originally not this. La'an means drive them away from your mercy. Keep mercy upon them who are truthful and deprive them from your mercy who are not truthful. Let's come. Ask God. Ask is going to listen to me and listen to you. They agreed. And then the Prophet, they agreed. When they came next day on the, which was the appointment time, they came, they saw something very amazing for them, astonishing. They expected that the Prophet is going to come, and he said, we are going to come with our women, our children, and ourselves. So he is going to bring with ourselves all his companions. At least 100, 200,000 people. Or he is going to bring so many women, maybe 100, because there were hundreds of thousands of Muslims at that time. He's going to bring hundreds of people or thousands of people and children. It's going to be a huge gathering. And we are only 70 people. We are only 70. But that's fine. Let's go and see. When they came, they saw that the Prophet is coming along with his cousin Ali, with his one daughter Fatima, with his two children Hassan and Hussein. And he came in a very simple way, with merely looking to them. The leader of the scholars, the Christian scholars, he said, I am not going to go into spiritual contest against them at all. Because I see faces that I can say that if they just point towards a mountain, the mountain is going to move. They are so powerful spiritually. I can see spiritual faces. So he is not coming with an army. He is not coming with people to come and put them under pressure and to impress them and to, scare them. No, he is coming with very simple 5 people, including himself. Only his immediate family. So the Christians said, now we are not going to contest with you. Mubahala means spiritual contest. Spiritual, you see who is accepted by God, whose prayer will be accepted by God. They said, we are sure that they are so spiritual and so nice, so kind, so peaceful people, so godly people, that God going to accept them, not us. So this was Islamic victory over the Christians at the time. Victory, not through blood, not through sword, through logic and spirituality. This was. But look how proud the Muslims should be for this event. How proud they should be. But unfortunately, you don't hear from them a word about Mubahila. Why? Do you know why? The reason is only one, nothing else, that in this spiritual contest and the Islamic spiritual victory, there were only Ali, Fatima, Hassan and Hussein. And every single person among these 5 people deserves to be called Islam himself. Rasulullah Muhammad is Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ali is Islam. Fatima is Islam. Hassan is Islam. Hussein is Islam. So you can say Islam was coming there for spiritual contest. These are Islam. Don't call anybody Islam. They are Muslims if they are. If they are Muslims. They can say, oh, yeah, we are Muslims. So don't blame anybody's action on Islam. If you want to see what Islam is, see these people, what they are saying, what they are doing. It is what Islam is saying and doing. So go and ask people, why don't you speak about Mubahila? Why? Those people who go and try to find out some deficiencies, just some shortcomings in Islam or Islamic history. Non-Muslims, I'm talking about non-Muslims. Why don't you find this story, beautiful story? Why don't you talk about this? Now, let's ask the same question to Muslims, so-called Muslims, these killers and murderers especially. I'm talking to general Muslims. Not everybody is terrorist. 99.99% of Muslims, Shia and Sunni both, are peaceful people. They are very, very small in number, these terrorists. So ask them, but also ask the masses. Ask those gatherings. Ask those masjid and mosque and alim and scholars. Why don't you talk about Mubahila? Just because these names are there? If there were any other name, you would make it a big deal, a big issue, right? But since there is these pure names, it's fine. You are not harming anyone but yourself, and not you harming anyone but Islam, by keeping away from these pure people who came to Mubahila and who proved the truth of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us among the real followers of these pure representatives of Islam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and ability to convey the real peaceful message of Islam and Quran to the world. إن أحسن الحديث وأبلغ الموعظة كتاب الله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.